Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about what I hate about the zodiac sign Aquarius. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, anyway, people, first thing is what I hate about Aquarius is that, well, they could just be flat out emotionally detached. They have a strong difficulty, many of them, in making close attachments. And don't get me wrong, Aquarius, I've talked about them being the universal friend. They may show this universal love to people. But what it is that they have a hard time, I think, often showing a strong amount toward one individual person. They can make their friends and acquaintances easily, but they are very difficult to know. A lot of this is connected, I think, with that they have the freedom, independence thing going on with them. So anyway, another thing about Aquarius is that it's not just that I hate. It's not just the emotionally detached thing. I mean, they could just be aloof, just in general, and even with people that they're very closely connected with, and they really they could kind of keep their distance even from those people that are very prominent and significant in their lives. Now, don't get me wrong, Aquarius is a masculine sign. They could be, I mean, they could be very sociable and gregarious, but at the same time, they still have that side which can be distant from you. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact they're spreading their friendliness out to a lot of different people. And a lot of times it's not emphasized or accentuated with one particular individual. Now, another thing I hate about the zodiac sign Aquarius is that they could just be very unpredictable. Now, unpredictability can be interesting for some people. It can keep people on their toes. But sometimes there's some people that don't like things that are overly spontaneous and really something that just takes you by surprise. They're not always good. I'll give you an example. I had a friend one time who had an Aquarius, has an Aquarius Ascendant, and he was driving me in his car, and I was in the front passenger seat. Then all of a sudden, instead of going through the parking lot in the conventional manner, he takes the Aquarius rising unconventional manner in this case, and he drives up a grass hill in order to enter the parking lot. And it really took me by surprise, but I wasn't quite as bewildered as the typical person, maybe given the fact that I kind of expected the unexpected given the nature of his chart having Aquarius Ascendant. I think he might have also had, if I'm not mistaken, not 100% this, but I think he may have had Mercury retrograde. And if that's true, well, you understand Mercury retrograde, of course, could have a different mindset than an average person anyway. So that being said, well, another thing I hate about Aquarius is the fact it's actually something that we find often commendable and laudable about the sun that we love, is the fact that they're just downright smarter than most of us. Now, Aquarius can be very futuristic, innovative, and well ahead of their own time. They often come up with these ideas that we cannot even grasp or fathom. They will have these things. They will do their, I guess I call them MacGyvers. They can often improvise with just sometimes even with everyday household items, and they'll make these things you wouldn't expect, like making a shoebox into a humidor, for example. I saw an episode of MacGyver, and ironically enough, the actor that played MacGyver, Richard Dean Anderson, has a son in Aquarius, and he always find ways, these improvised ways to extricate himself out of dilemmas. I mean, one episode he was using like these jugs and some rope, and he was able to set a trap up by doing so. I mean, this is just like, Aquarius, whether they're innovators or not, they can often think of ideas that we really, that us mere mortals often can't. And I think there's certain jealousy from a lot of the other people in the zodiac because of this. I'm a little angry at them at times because a lot of times I can't think of these ideas, and that's what will bother me about it. So anyway, well, another thing about Aquarius I hate is that they could be very overly paradoxical. I mean, it just makes it confusing, makes them very hard to figure out. I mean, Aquarius, I mean, for spending habits, for example, might be the type that might be overly extravagant on prodigious or large items, and they might actually be very frugal on the ones that are rather that are small, and the ones that are inexpensive, like just general grocery store items, for example. So, and they're just something about them that really it makes them very enigmatic. Now, another thing I hate about the zodiac sign Aquarius is that despite being very progressive and often they're often favor new innovations, new concepts and ideas, they could be overly fixed in their viewpoints and outlook, their philosophies. And the thing about this too is I think especially like say if somebody has the sun in Aquarius and their Mercury is in Capricorn, say, well, Mercury in Capricorn can be somewhat inflexible and intransigent in their viewpoints. It might make Aquarius in that example a little bit more conservative and orthodox in their outlook and in their way of thinking, but that would even add to perhaps a little bit more rigidity in their nature. And also if Aquarius is on, say they're on the cusp of Capricorn, they could also exhibit even more rigidity, I believe, to some degree than maybe even the typical Aquarius. So anyway, well, another thing too that I hate about the zodiac sign Aquarius is they can often have a very idiosyncratic and bizarre type behavior. I mean, this could be so many different things. It could be the person that puts a clip on the nose to not smell something as opposed to just smelling things regularly. And a person that wears a pot on the head or something metallic on their head, one of those people, for example, that might think others can read their mind or something. I'm just throwing this out there arbitrarily or something. And anyway, and it's one of those, they're just really, I mean, Aquarius can simply be the oddballs of the zodiac. And the thing about it too is they could display this behavior in public, and it could be, let's say if they're with a friend or a group of people, and if they show these oddities outwardly in public, it can sometimes be embarrassing for the people that are around them. I had a friend one time that has Aquarius rising, and this person would sometimes do things publicly that would just flat out embarrass me, and I would almost have to kind of drift away from the person to look like I wasn't connected with the person. So really, I mean, anyway, another thing to touch up on also and talk about a little more is that, you know, Aquarius, what I hate about them is they could be very difficult to truly know. And they make their friends readily, but they're just and acquaintances very easily. They're very amiable and amicable, very friendly people often. They exhibit strong friendliness, but as I stated before, just really very hard often to get to know. And another thing too that I hate about Aquarius is that they could just be really flat out very unreliable. I understand they're a fixed sign. They may have certain persistence and tenacity, but in other ways in life they might not be the most reliable people. A lot of this, I think, is due to that freedom independence syndrome is how I see it. I mean, it's similar to Gemini. Gemini just really doesn't want to be tied down because they like to have their variety, and variety is the spice of life for Gemini. They like to be able to do different things. If they're forced to be dependable consistently, then that might be monotonous for them. Aquarius, it's more of just I think a general freedom independence thing going on with them. I think it's about Aquarius just wants to be able to convey that, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I don't have to be on any regimented schedule in a lot of cases. I just, you know, that's what they're really saying. I don't want to have to be there because you want me to be there or you want me to do something at a certain time. It's like it's not necessarily malicious, and they might not always be consciously aware of this, but I think Aquarius, it's really just them about dictating what they're going to do and when they want to do it, and not when somebody else wants them to do it. I think that it plays a strong role in the fact that say in a platonic, or I should say, for example, same-sex relationship, often or friendship, I should say, maybe that Leo and Aquarius would be rather incompatible because Leo could be very authoritative, and Aquarius often likes to do their own thing when they want to do, and they don't want somebody else often dictating the course of action to them. Now, another thing I hate about Aquarius is that, well, what happens is with them, their friends can often dominate their life scheme, their friends and acquaintances. Okay, as I stated before and in other videos, I see Aquarius as the universal friend. But say you're probably thinking, well, how could this be a negative? Well, in some cases it can be negative because, I mean, if you have an Aquarius that's involved in a significant, in a relationship with someone, they have a significant other, those friendships, I think, often may detract time from them in terms of their relationship they have with that significant other, and it could wind up being detrimental to that relationship. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. For what I hate about Aquarius, stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about what I hate about Pisces. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.